Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something that's probably on a lot of your minds, the OSCP exam. We're not going over basic Kali stuff here. This is really for those of you who are, actively grinding, you're comfortable with the tools, and you're looking for that edge,
Right.
that strategic advantage
Yeah.
to pass cleanly, confidently. So our mission today, let's pull out those core professional strategies for OSCP success.
Exactly. We're kind of looking past the 101 level stuff and getting into the actual methodology, the mindset that helps people pass efficiently. Think of it like a blueprint for that final push.
Okay, great. Let's get straight to it then. For listeners wanting to sharpen their approach, where's the biggest impact starting point?
Well, the bedrock really for any pen test, and definitely for OSCP, is a structured workflow. You just can't afford to be chaotic, especially with that clock ticking.
Yeah, agreed. It's not just throwing things at the wall, is it?
Yeah.
It's got to be methodical.
Precisely. It needs to be calculated step by step. So what professionals use, a really effective structure, is enum, then exploit, then prevesc, then loot, and finally, report.
Enum, exploit, prevesc, loot, report. Got it.
Yeah, burn that sequence in. It's more than just a list. It's like the rhythm you need for the engagement.
That makes a lot of sense. A clear progression. How vital is sticking to that rhythm, under the gun in the 24-hour exam?
Oh, it's absolutely paramount. It basically becomes your automatic pilot and makes sure you're systematically checking things on a target before you move on.
Right, stops you missing stuff.
Exactly. It prevents that tunnel vision trap, ensures you don't skip crucial recon. That rhythm keeps you efficient, methodical, even when things get intense.
Okay, now let's zero in on something that seems to be a big hurdle for many. Privilege escalation. Why is that so tough, and how can people get an edge?
Prevest, yeah, it often needs a deeper dive into the OS, its configuration quirks. A lot of candidates lean pretty heavily on automated tools.
Like LinPs, WinPs?
Yeah, exactly. And look, they're valuable, definitely flag potential issues,
Yeah.
but the output, it's only as good as your ability to actually interpret it.
So just running the script and hoping isn't the plan?
Definitely not. You need to grasp why something it finds is actually a Prevesc vulnerability. Like, why is that cron job exploitable? How do you spot and use writable services on Windows?
Okay.
What's the deal with unquoted service paths or bad permissions, or maybe token impersonation? You need to know what these things look like and how to take advantage.
That's quite a bit to internalize.
Mm-hmm.
Are there specific, maybe manual tools or commands people should really get comfortable with?
Yeah.
Beyond the scripts?
Indisputably, yeah. Manual tools are essential for digging deeper or for when scripts miss things. On Windows, you absolutely need to know access crop.exe. Think of it for checking permissions, and powerup.ps1. Very powerful.
Okay.
On Linux, understanding file permissions, using sudo-l, looking at SUI, GUID stuff, that's vital. Oh, and WAMI prive on Windows fundamental check.
You mentioned internalizing concepts over just memorizing.
Right.
Why is that so critical for OSCP?
Because the exam, it's not really a memory test, it's problem solving. If an exploit doesn't work like you expect, or a common Prevex path is blocked,
Right.
you have to be able to analyze, understand the underlying principles, and adapt. If you can explain why an escalation works, that shows real understanding. That's what lets you pivot when you hit a wall.
Okay, let's switch gears. Something maybe more reliable for points. Buffer overflows. Why do these sometimes get overlooked, and why should candidates prioritize them?
Buffer overflows, yeah. They can seem a bit old school or maybe overly technical to some, but they consistently show up on the OSCP and usually carry significant points, like often 25 points.
A big chunk.
A huge chunk. And ignoring this area is a major mistake because, honestly, with focused practice, it becomes a really reliable way to bank a good portion of the points you need. It's almost a guaranteed return on study time.
So nail the practice, and it's almost points in the bag.
Pretty much. You need dedicated practice, sure. You got to get good at spotting those bad characters and, confidently controlling the instruction pointer EIP. Yeah. Getting comfortable with Mona and Immunity Debugger is also crucial. If you spend time with things like VulnServer, BrainPan, Buffer Overflows change from scary to, muscle memory.
Is there an extra benefit, maybe psychological, to getting the buffer overflow done early in the exam?
Absolutely. Nailing the buffer overflow early, it's a massive psychological boost. It's like an anchor. It proves to yourself, okay, I can exploit things under pressure. That confidence surge. Invaluable for tackling the other machines.
Right, builds momentum.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about after you get root. The report. Sounds like this is absolutely make or break.
It is absolutely non-negotiable. You could root every single box, every single one, but if your report is bad, you can still fail.
Wow. Okay.
OSCP reporting is all about clarity, reproducibility, and just professionalism. Forget fancy designs. It's the substance that matters.
So what absolutely has to be in there for each machine? What are the essentials?
Okay, for every machine, a clear step-by-step account of your attack chain, how you got in, how you escalated, every single step.
Meticulous.
Meticulous is the word. You need the exact commands you used and their complete unedited output.
Right. No trimming.
No trimming. Screenshots are also vital. Key stages, initial shell, the prevest working, and of course the contents of the proof.txt file. Document it all.
It sounds like it could take a lot of time during the actual exam, though. How do you manage that efficiently?
Proactive prep is key. Make a report template before the exam. Mark down Word, whatever works.
Okay.
Have sections ready for all those required bits. Then, and this is important, use that template during your mock exams. Get used to filling it in as you go.
Practice the reporting, too.
Exactly. By exam day, it's much more streamlined, copying, pasting, tidying up notes and commands you already captured.
So it's really training for efficiency and professionalism, not just ticking a box.
Precisely. Think of the OSCP report like a real-world client deliverable. Clear, documented findings are essential so they can actually reproduce and fix the issues. Good training.
Okay, finally, let's talk about practice structure, especially in those last crucial weeks. You mentioned not all practice is created equal.
That's absolutely right. Look, doing general CTFs is fine, helps with basic skills, but it doesn't really replicate the specific pressure and format of the OSCP exam itself.
Right.
For truly effective prep, you need to simulate realistic OSCP conditions in your mock exams.
And what does a realistic or proper OSCP mock exam look like? What are the key elements?
Okay, first, strict 24-hour time limit, just like the real thing. Second, it needs the right mix of machines. You should aim for, say, 1 Buffer Overflow, 2 Linux, 2 Windows. That's typical.
Where can people find or set that up?
Good options are out there. Hack the Box has their offshore lab, which is designed for this. VulnHub has tons of vulnerable VMs you could use. Or, build your own lab if you can.
And it's not just the setup, it's the mindset during the mock, isn't it?
Without a doubt. You got to treat these mocks with the same seriousness as the actual exam. Resist that urge to just reset a machine when you get stuck.
The struggle is part of it.
It's a crucial part of learning. Track your time meticulously, how long on each exploit attempt, and time the whole process per machine. Enum, root, prevesc, reporting, everything.
So these mocks aren't just technical tests. They're about refining time management strategy, the whole package.
Exactly right. Effective mock exams are like tangible proof you're ready. They show you your weaknesses under pressure, help you polish that workflow, and build that crucial confidence. It's really the difference between amateur and professional prep.
This has been incredibly useful, a really deep dive. To wrap it all up, what's the sort of core message for listeners still on their OSCP journey?
Well, the OSCP exam, it is tough, no doubt, but it's absolutely reachable. It just takes a strategic, disciplined approach. It's not about luck, not about finding shortcuts. It's about clarity, a solid workflow you stick to, and just controlled execution under pressure.
Okay, so what's your final call to action then? What should they focus on?
Focus on this. Build that professional workflow, make it second nature. Really understand privilege escalation, the why. Put in the time to make buffer overflows reliable points. Practice clear reporting from the start. And critically, test yourself constantly with realistic timed mock exams. Those are the pillars. Build on those.
Fantastic. Really actionable advice there. For those of you who found this deep dive helpful and maybe want even more on OSCP prep, keep an eye out for future content we might add. You've got the strategies now. Go apply them. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.